Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're just outside the village of Kingston in Dorset. It's about 5 miles west of Swanage and 2 miles south of Corfe Castle on the Isle of Burbeck. We're going to be walking a 5-mile-ish route south to the beautiful remote cove at CHAPMAN'S pool on the Jurassic coast. And as well as some stunning scenery, there'll be a few interesting things to see along the way. Now I'm filming at the end of February. The sun's out, there's blue sky, it's about 10 degrees, so Logan's even got his coat off today. Should be perfect conditions for walking, so do come along with us. Now I've parked my car at a free car park just to the western side of Kingston. And we had a look round the village when we did our walk from Kingston to Corfe, so if you haven't seen that video, do check it out. Right, let's kick on with the walk and head southwards towards the sea. Wow, you know, it really has been a terrific early spring for snowdrops. Look at these here, just at the top of the valley. In fact, I went and had a look at the display at Kingston Lacey House in Dorset, just north of Wimborne, about a week ago, and there was a fantastic display there. It's a National Trust property, well worth going if you've never been there before. Well folks, our first spectacular view of the day just behind me. Isn't that amazing? Now it is quite windy up on this ridge, so hopefully it's not going to affect the audio too much. We're actually on the Encombe Estate. Now the estate was given to the Abbess of Shaftesbury by King Edred, I think that's how you pronounce his name, in AD 948, and it remained in possession of Shaftesbury Abbey up until the dissolution of monasteries. In the mid-16th century, it was bought by Robert Culliford, and he built a large house here. I think that was down in the valley below. His family lived up here until 1734, when the estate was sold to George Pitt, who then gave it to his son, John. John then pulled down the house and built the present magnificent Encombe House. The house and estate was sold to John Scott, the first Earl of Eldon, in 1807. I think it's now owned by James Gagaro, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who bought it for £20 million in 2009. Now, according to press reports at the time, Kylie Minogue was considering buying the house. She should be so lucky. Sorry, I had to, didn't I? Well, I bet you weren't expecting to see a photograph of Kylie Minogue on my video today. But there's another thing to look at while I'm up here on the ridge, and that is just over to the west. And there's a rather splendid obelisk, and it was erected in 1835 in memory of Sir William Scott, Baron Stowell, who was the first Earl of Eldon's brother. It's 40 foot high and made from stone quarried from Seacombe Quarry. really is quite breathtaking from up on this ridge. There's the house down below and the lakes, and then our first decent view of the sea. Looking quite blue and fairly calm today. And then as I pan round, that's Houns-Tout, which is where we're heading for. It's hard to put this picture into words. We're just about to join the southwest coast path, which is that 630-mile long distance path from Poole in Dorset to Minehead in Somerset. I'm really getting some terrific views of, well, the Jurassic coast at its best. Look at the waves crashing below there. This is looking over to the west. I can just about make out the Isle of Portland in the distance, and then panning around the high point just on the right there, that's Swyre Head, which is the highest point on the Isle of Burbeck at 682 foot. In fact, Logan and I have been there. We did it on our walk at Kimmeridge. Well folks, I keep going on about these views, but they really are quite spectacular. We're now at a place called Houns-Tout. Houns is a family name, hound, from the Norman times, and tout means a lookout point. And from here we're going to start heading eastwards. But before we do, let's just have one last look back over to the west. It certainly looks a long way down from the top here, that's for sure. And those views, and oh yeah, I can just make out Clavel Tower just before you drop down into Kimmeridge Bay. Well, our first view of CHAPMAN'S pool. I'm conscious I'm pointing the camera towards the sun, so it might look a bit dark. We'll get better pictures later on, but it really is quite splendid from up here. Now, somehow we're going to make our way down into the valley and onto the beach itself. And just panning over in the very far distance, there's Worth Matravers. Delightful little village, and there's a pub there called the Square and Compass, which, well, I think is probably one of the best pubs in all of Dorset. Well, just before we make our way downhill towards the pool, just over on the north you can see what looks like ancient field systems. Now, a 1948 map calls them Celtic fields, a 1961 map calls it a field system, and a current Ordnance Survey map just says settlement and field systems. But certainly an aerial picture indicates some old field boundaries. I can't actually find too much information about them, but certainly on a day like today where the sun is fairly low, you get some lovely shadows and you can really make out the field boundaries on the side of the hill. Well, we've certainly got a downhill bit coming ahead of us. Oh, my knees aren't going to enjoy this. There are some steps. I'm going to keep Logan on a lead because we are quite close to the cliff edge here. I'll tell you what, folks, that was a lot harder than it looked, I can assure you. Well, having survived that mountain stage of the route, we're going to follow the southwest coast path. It heads inland slightly, and we're going to have to go around the bottom of the valley and approach Chapman's Pool from the eastern end. Crikey, just looking back to those steps that we came down, that's got to be a 45-degree angle. Oh, no wonder my knees were complaining. Right, a little resume of where we've been, where we're going. There over in the west is the that toboggan run that we came down, and then we sort of followed that's the southwest coast path along the side of the valley, and then round at the bottom of this hill here, and then we get to the top of the valley, and now we've been coming back down along a bridleway. Now, just to my right here, there's a building. I think this is all that remains of the old Coast Guard cottages. Now, they show on a 1901 map, but in fact they were resited to St Aldham's Head in 1895. The white cottages are still up there on St Aldham's Head. They're residential now. But here there were 4 cottages and a washroom, and supplies came in by sea. And the duties of the men were to patrol the coastal paths. And I think the army took over the cottages in the First World War, but clearly they've all been demolished. So it's either here, I mean, clearly there was some form of building here, or it might be a little bit further up. I'm not 100% sure. Right, we'll continue with our journey, and this is our final downhill bit that should take us to Chapman's Pool Beach. Ta-da! We've made it to Chapman's Pool. A challenging but entertaining journey to get here. Look at this little waterfall just behind me here. Isn't that delightful? Absolutely. Quite enchanting. Right, let's go for a little exploration around Chapman's Pool. Wow. I keep saying wow, don't I? I must stop doing that. But this is amazing. Let's have a look. This is a great area apparently for fossils, so we'll keep our eyes peeled. Lots of nice beach smells for Logan. Lots of sea creatures getting washed up. A little bit of cuttlefish there. I mean, the landscape around here really is, yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. There's some birds in the cracks in the rocks there. Oh, what a day to be out. Well, he's thinking about a dog dip, but it's a bit chilly. Well, Logan and sand really do. Ah! I should have been paying attention. He absolutely loves getting his feet in sand. Oh, fella. Please, come on. I wouldn't stand there if I were you, because as I've just found out, you're going to get your feet wet. There, told you. That's a new smell. Not sure about that. Cuttlefish. What do we got over here? No idea what that is, but investigations are continuing. That looks like it's a bit of crab. He's loving it here. Well, if you're into fossils, this is the place to come. You see the outline of, what was that? Is that an ammonite? I'm not an expert, I'm afraid, but whatever it is, it's a fair few centuries, millions of years old, I don't know. Fascinating to come and explore around here, though. Well, made my way to the eastern end of Chapman's Pool. It's quite glorious in the winter sunshine. And just as I slowly pan round, just by me here on the right are some old buildings. And there was in fact a lifeboat station built here in 1867 after a lot of local pressure with significant casualties at sea in the area, and a lifeboat called George Scott was based here, but it was only operational until about 1880. There were problems getting volunteers to man it. We were some way away from either Kingston or Worth-Matravers, and there also were issues with landslips around here, but now it's just a fishing hut. Well, it's now time to say goodbye to Chapman's Pool. I tell you, we've had a fantastic time exploring, really good fun. So now we're on the homeward leg, heading back to Kingston, and it's uphill all the way. Well folks, we've made it back to our final destination, the Scott Arms at Kingston. We hope you enjoyed the walk. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. What a fantastic way to end the walk. I always feel this has got one of the best views from a pub garden in Dorset. And with a pint of Durdle Door, what better way to end a walk? So until we meet again, thanks for watching. And cheerio. Sorry? Oh, crisp times, sorry. Oh, silly daddy.